Hi, I'm Ann McCully, Executive Director of Child Care Aware of Minnesota, and welcome to our first weekly update of the new legislative session. For those of you who have followed these updates over the years, you will know right away that we are trying something new, which is to do a short video update as opposed to a written update each week, along with our regular bill tracker, which follows any newly introduced bills and also action on existing bills throughout the session. So we'll jump right in. This is the end of week 2 of the legislative session. And so far, a lot of the action has been focused on updates to the committees on action that has been taken by the departments since last legislative session. But there are a few bills that we will talk about. We have seen 23 bills on our bill tracker already that have been introduced in the first 2 weeks related to early care and education. As I said, 3 of those have had some action in the last week. The first of those bills is a technical bill that has to do with the implementation of the new Department of Children, Youth, and Families, and that is House File 3646. The chief author is Representative Pinto, and also Senate File 3770, which chief author is Senator Melissa Wickland. Those bills have each been heard in their respective first stops in the House and Senate. They will have additional hearings coming in the future. The Senate also took up the first hearing of a new E12 policy bill. So again, this is the year when we generally see people looking at policy and technical changes. This is a bill that covers both pre-kindergarten, but also through grade 12 policy change. So worth following to make sure that there aren't changes or to track the changes in our pre-K age. And that's Senate File 3567, Senator Swedzinski. It will get a hearing, its companion will get a hearing in the coming week. And finally, there was a joint gathering of the House Economic Development Committee and the House Children, Families, and Youth Committee, and they considered a new bill, House File 3681. The chief author is Katiza Watun. And that is a bill that begins to move us forward on the goal of the Great Start Scholarship Framework, and that was set last year. And that is specifically looking at the question of creating a framework, creating funding, creating ways in which we can support our families in Minnesota so that no one pays more than 7% of their income on childcare. So this bill takes us that first step into moving along that continuum. Most specifically, it is focused on helping families who don't qualify because they make too much money for either of the existing child care assistance or early learning scholarships or any of the other tools out there for our lower income families. So this is a first step into the helping all families access child care. During the coming week, we will see, as I mentioned, the companion to the policy bill in education, and that will be for the House Education Policy Committee. That's House File 3782, carried by Representative Pryor. And we will also see the Senate companion to the bill I just mentioned, dealing with the Great Start Framework. That will also get a hearing, and that is Senate File 3790, Senator Hochschild. So those we will be tracking. And as I mentioned, the technical bill will continue to make its way through both committees or both houses. Biggest action coming this week, however, the week of February 26th, is the release of the next economic and budget forecast, and that is on Wednesday, February 28th. And that really becomes the information, the data that the governor and the legislators will use to decide if they're going to request additional funds. So the state budget is set right now through June of 2025. That action happened last year. So unless there is probably a significant surplus or a significant deficit, the legislature would primarily focus on bonding and also on these technical and policy bills. So we will know a lot more by next week when I provide this update. But for now, I hope this is helpful. And please, again, visit our bill tracker to find out more details on any of the bills I mentioned and any other new introductions from the past week. Thanks and have a great week.